Good morning and welcome to EBVB News. I'm Blake Philbin.
And I'm Emma Voorhees. And remember, our program is always in HD. Today we'll be discussing the intriguing topic of Texas and the Civil War.
Our first topic of the day is government of the Civil War.
Back in 1860, Sam Houston was called to a convention of the people to determine what course of action the state should take in the Civil War.
Well, actually, Houston refused going to this convention because he thought paying little attention might help make sure Texas isn't getting any closer to withdrawal.
But later, Edward Clark ended up taking Sam Houston's place in 1861, and then Pendleton Morrall later became governor in 1863.
While all this political confusion was occurring, the medical field at war wasn't much of a success either.
In the medical corps, there was a major shortage of surgeons to take care of all those injured men.
Medical technology during that time wasn't very advanced at all. Morphine, a common drug, was used as a painkiller by either being rubbed into the wounds or taken as an opium pill.
This painkiller wasn't always effective, though, compared to today's outstanding modern medical techniques. What the surgeons didn't know was that many of the soldiers were becoming addicted to these opium pills. This was not looking good.
Conditions of the environment weren't so good either. A common operating table was usually a couple of boards laid between barrels. That can't be sturdy.
Other than these issues, one positive thing that occurred on the battlefield was the usage of animals.
Many animals were associated with the war. One example is that dogs were used to track the enemy line. Their keen senses of smell helped the tracking process run more efficiently.
Well, you know, Blake, another animal used was the horse and the mule. They were kept for the use of transportation of the men on the battlefield and their need of supplies.
Oh, yes! They brought along their ammunition, food, and also helped transport the sick and wounded.
Oh, wow! To move along with our show, our next discussion topic will be over the Unionists of the war.
Yes, the Unionists were treated terribly by the Confederates. The Confederate officials thought that the Unionists were dangerous traitors and thought they couldn't be trusted.
Many of the Unionists fled Texas trying to avoid the draft that took place in the war. Along with this event, the Unionists were put under martial law, ruled by armed forces.
That's martial law.
Being under martial law, many Unionists were violently attacked.
The violence acted upon the Unionists showed how much this war was overcoming the people.
While all this is very important, I think we need to move on to the next topic, which is Texas soldiers.
I agree. Texas troops fought from every direction in this intense war. One of the best Texas brigades was fought in the eastern side of the United States. There were several Texas brigades that fought with an army called the Army of Tennessee, which was the main rebel group.
Another place where a lot of Texans fought was the area west of the Mississippi River called the Trans-Mississippi. It was a good location for them because it was close to home.
While men and soldiers are very important, I think it's time to move on to the ladies.
I agree. To start it off, many women were affected by the war in some way, shape, or form.
Many were a part of women's organizations involving the war. Some of them, including Ladies Hospital Aid Society, Union Volunteer Refreshment Saloon, and U.S. Christian Commission.
If they weren't a part of any organizations, they usually were selling items to be shipped to soldiers, attending surgeons as their assistants, or maybe even fighting on the battlefield, if young enough, which usually means around the 30-year mark.
Wow, they did a lot. They deserve more credit than they get.
Yes, ma'am, they do. Well, that sadly was our last topic of the day. It's now time to sign off.
I'm Blake Philbin.
And I'm Emma Voorhees.
And this was EVBV News. Have a great day, everyone. Women's organizations involving the war. Some of them, including Ladies Hospital Aid. Okay. They were a part of women's organizations.
I made a face.
They were a part of They were a part of women's organizations involving the war. Some of them, including They were a part of women's organizations involving the war.
Women's organizations involving the war, some of them including Ladies Hospital Aid Society, Union Volunteer Refreshment Saloon, and the U.S. Christian Commission.
They were a part of women's organizations involving the war. Some of them... I'm going to do it this time, no matter what. Many were a part of women's... Are you kidding?
Stop barking!
I have to run a lot.
Okay. Run a lot, Blake.
Because every time I say...
Article.
No! It's gonna be all like, I like
Miss Hilton will give us a zero. She'll give us a zero. She's already gonna be laughing at us because we look like dorks. It's rock. Little bunny foo foo.
Yeah. The Confederate officials usually thought the Unionists were dangerous traitors and thought they couldn't be trusted. They also thought that they were big butts.
No.